Hello everybody, Crab here, and today we will build this wonderful quartz factory and finally learn how to use lights to make semi-moody lighting so they don't always look like shit. Now, let us begin. But before we start any of that, I guarantee a few of you will have the exact same question. Did I fix the power plant? And I hope by this very nice fuel line you can see that I have. It took me a few hours to do because I had to redo the lines, a few of the pipes, and make sure I had the correct amount of canisters. I had to drain the system and then redo all of it. But if we look at the power, we are sitting at around 42 to 43,000 megawatts. And the reason why we're going back and forth is simply because at the very end over here, the pipes just haven't filled up all the way. It'll be hours and hours before these pipes fill up. So we aren't technically at full power, but we are not dropping anymore. And I have to say, with all this stuff moving, it looks absolutely beautiful. And if for some reason you have not seen this power plant episode, it should be in the top right. So take a look-see. It's very nice. Now, I am over by the coal power plant because this little cavern right here is where we're going to be building our very small, but hopefully good quartz factory. This factory will hopefully be one big experiment for me. I have not messed around with too much very detail-oriented lighting. I've kind of just shoved it everywhere to light as many machines as possible. So this factory is going to be very dark, with very small lights except for in a few areas, and I'm really going to try out a bunch of new building techniques because I have unlocked almost every single building material except for the metal customizers. Right now I only have the unpainted one. So I'm going to try a lot of random shit and experiment and see what happens, and things will look terrible and things will look good, and it's going to be a fun process. But the first thing we have to do is put our machines in. Now when I said small, I meant pretty small. We're making about 2 crystal oscillators, we're making about 75 silica and about 30 quartz crystals. So it's not a big factory, but it should get things done for what I need it to do. The math is relatively simple. Right here we have our 2 machines, which are making crystal oscillators together, making 2 of them. To make 2, 36 quartz crystal, 28 cable, and 5 reinforced iron plates. Our quartz crystal will be made in these 3 machines. Our silica will be made in those 3 and shoved in a storage bin. And one of these quartz crystal machines are going to be put in the storage bin there. And then the crystal oscillators are going in the storage bin right there. To make the reinforced iron plates, it's just 30 iron plates and 60 screws shoved into a assembler and then brought over. Now, I would like to mess with height in this build as well. So my general plan is kind of make a bunker feeling for the outside. We're going to have these pillars. I want to mess around with height on the inside for where machines are placed as too. I can't really go down anymore because we have solid ground, but I can go up. So these manufacturers, I want to have raised with like a pathway next to them and mess around with where belt inputs will come in. And I want to see what I can do on the ceiling because I have an iron belt that's going to be coming from up there. So I want to see where I can put it, how I can decorate it, and things like that. And also I'd like to have some hanging pathways just so we can look above all the machines and look down and see everything. If you're asking where I'm getting my quartz, deep down in this scary cave that connects to the middle here, there are 2 quartz nodes. I'm grabbing the medium one and bring it up and overclocked it to produce 180 quartz so I can bring it over and make my silica and quartz crystal. And my iron is just coming from right here. I'm just going to bring it down. Now, the very first thing I want to do is make sure I have my machine placements correct. Before I mess with the floor or the outside or the inside, I want to make sure that I like where these machines are and make sure I like the materials that they'll be sitting on. So I was placing down materials and kind of messing with height and whatnot, and I came across a wee little problem. One, I like how my things are laid out. I like what I'm doing with it. Right now, these raised machines, I've put on these frame foundations and then put the gripped metal, so they can sit on it, just because I feel like that fits really well. The pathway, I'm really trying to decide if I want to use the normal, boring, just 1 black, or if I want to go dark black. I don't know yet. I feel like the dark black won't fit the palette here, but also I still need to put in all of my painted beams and lights, so I don't know yet. That'll be something I have to figure out later. But for the floor that the machines are sitting on, we're doing something a little bit different. This is the normal black, and this is the unpainted texture. I know it's hard to see because all I have is my flashlight, but there's a difference. And it's a little bit shinier, and so I'm really hoping when it comes to putting in lights, the way it bounces off, like how it bounces off of coated concrete, I'm hoping it does against the unpainted metal. I don't know yet, though. So we're gonna find out. I may just change this to just black foundations instead of having it be this. The other thing I've been thinking about is doing straight black foundations for the machines and changing the pathways to normal black. Still not sure yet. I'll have to figure it out. Maybe I should make the lights bigger. Kind of like that they're small. I've indented them in these like pillars, but I feel like that doesn't work. I feel like I should indent them in these ones because these look like they're structural. The problem is these are centered with the machines and I don't want to do two. But I could do like a straight line, like if I had done, if I had done them like here across. I was trying to figure out lighting because like right now they're on white all the way on glossy strength of 2. I did that at strength of 1 originally, and that was way too dark. I feel like strength of 2 gives like enough illumination to be cool, but not enough to light up this whole place. But I feel like they look kind of stupid when they're in these support beams. I'll have to figure it out. My plan for the walls is generally this is the only wall that'll be concrete. I want to have, I mean, the roof will be concrete, but most of the rock will be exposed. So I won't be doing much wall details. I'll be doing a lot more floor to wall details. I want to do some like sideways of these large beams with like some lights on them outlining the whole factory and stuff like that. But the walls will be mostly rock. I don't know. I might mess with it a little bit, but not too much. So I'm trying to add as much ceiling and wall detail on this wall as possible. Right now I have these lines in here to add some texture. I might put some lights on the floor in the back just to add a bit of a glow. Anyways, I have more experimenting to do. This was my little progress report and me being really annoyed by the fact that I don't know where to put these lights to outline these machines. Big thing. So I learned something while I was building my steel factory a few episodes ago. It was that building things too open means lighting stuff is really goddamn hard. So what I'm doing is, wow, the lighting is weird because the sun's going down and it's foggy in here. Since things that are super open are hard to light, what I'm doing is trying to cut this into 3 sections, I guess you could call it. So this is the entrance, and our first section is like the assemblers. You walk up, right? You see, okay, you have this open bit here, and maybe I'll add something in the middle. So you have your first section, you have your wall, then you have your second section, which is like this whole area here. So you have your entrance, your machines. Then you have your storage bins, which is its third section. And then over here you have maybe this will be a separate section. I might split it. We'll find out. But then you have your manufacturers, right? So what that does is it makes it easier for me to light things and makes it so I don't have to use like these ceiling lights and whatnot to light up the big areas. I can just play around with small signs lighting very specific things at any given time. So that's why this big thing is here, and that's why these storage bins are here. Now the storage bins are this really strange blueprint I made. It's not exactly anything complicated, it's just a little strange. So I took the beams and kind of rotated them and then painted them the unpainted color to make them shine with light, and then added in this conveyor lift, which attaches to this storage bin here. This storage bin is accessible from the side, and there's just this glass pane here, so there's kind of a wall and kind of a little bit of something. And then, of course, there's just a few pillars that kind of mess around and finish the shape off. So we'll be able to see the items flowing, and then we can also grab the items, and then they're also outlined. I wanted to mess around with detail and these painted beams, rotating them and kind of mess around with lighting, and you know, I haven't done very much of that. I did decide to keep these mini lights, but what I did was I used the inverted ramps and ramp walls with the metal texture to add kind of like an outline. So it looks like the beams keep going, like they're kind of extending just underneath the light, because I felt like it was too plain when it was just concrete. It's weird because it's like the middle of the day, so this place is lit up, but then you go towards the cave and my graphics just shove me in shadow, so I can't see anything. It's only been 2 hours. Fix it. That is very much wrong. I've been playing for longer than that. I was messing around with the pathway railings. I usually make them flat, but I kind of like how I have them slanted. I was going to do lighting across them, and then I did that, and it was too much, and I found it to be ugly and stupid, so I took that away. The other thing is, I finished this roof up here. It kind of connects with the rock right here, but it's still concrete right there. I added these lights in just as a little bit of something. If we go over here towards the cave, my visuals should drop, and we can kind of get what it will look like during the nighttime. So it highlights a little bit up there and it shoves some light down here, but it isn't too much. Same with these. These are set to glossy 1, and so they're spew a little bit of light down, but not nearly as much as it's showing right now. I also put this pattern in. It looks terrible when you put a flashlight on, but it's easier to see. I like how it's indented. It adds a little bit of texture to this jutting out bit. I did it all the way around. I feel like I should add, like, I don't know. I'm going to add a skylight here instead of those bits. I'm going to add a skylight because I feel like that's appropriate because the sky. But I feel like I should add some lighting, maybe like using the 4-meter lights along like the edge right here, just as a little bit of something. Maybe make them matte and like purple for quartz. I don't know. I'm still trying to think about it, and I'm really trying to decide if I should keep this to be very brutalist square or if I should add a slanting right here instead. But I mean, the front of this thing's coming along. I still need to detail this wall, which I will decide to do. It'll be different than that one. But what I'm going to do now is the floor plan and actually connect up the belts to the machines because I'm not moving them anywhere. This is what it's going to look like. If you've enjoyed, subscribe, please. All right, so radical idea. How about you put all your machines in when you're planning things out? I entirely forgot about the cable I have to do. I'm using a fun little alternate recipe. If we look right here, I'm using... Oh, oops. I'm using the iron wire. So it's 12.5 iron for 22.5 wire, and then we shove that into this machine over here, which makes 28 cable, which then goes over there. I was really confused on why I was missing stuff. I was like, huh, I'm missing something. And then I was like, oh, I just don't have my cable. So I put that in, which now means that our awesome sink is gone, which means I'm gonna have to put it out front somewhere, which is actually cool. I wanted to have some buildings out front. And also means that the assembler now has a little friend where we make the wire. So this space is now a lot fuller, which I'm happy about. Now that these belts are wired up, I am gonna turn this whole thing on. Well, the machines aren't wired yet, but I have a plan for that. I want to use the metal beams and these beam connectors and maybe some small frames and some concrete pillars to kind of mess around with how I want to do wiring. Before I finish this side right here and the ceiling roof, I want to turn these on and see what happens. I already have the quartz crystal coming up. I still need to bring the iron over though, so I'm going to go do that. And then we get to detail the below bit, adding some siding. I really want to do like rotated siding with lights on it. I don't know. I just feel like it'll look cool, but this is all an experiment. We shall find out. This place looks so much better at night. Like, if you look at it in the daytime light, it looks kind of stupid. I guess the daytime light is gone. Where's that daytime light? Is it not daytime outside anymore? Have I lost track of time? Oh, no, it is. I guess it's the, like, morning light, because it was, like, bright pink in here. It was so weird. Anyways, I've detailed and done lines. Yes. Everything has been turned on. I'm kind of just making sure everything's working. This is a small factory, but I want to make sure it still looks good and whatnot. I've added these little lights on the end right here. Because I wanted to add some detail, and they aren't, I think they're only set to 1? They're set to 2, so they add some light, but they shouldn't like glow off the machines too much. I'm using these beams for the lines because I like how it looks. I did the skylight in the roof. It barely lets in any light, but when you're walking in from right here, you can see out of it, and so I think it looks pretty cool. I put this light of the entranceway in these machines right here because I needed something to light up this area. The funny part is if you look down here next to the iron in, I have these set up, these lights set up along this beam to like make this edge glow. So I wanted to highlight that. So, and then of course I did my lovely big beam texture all around the walls, all around. It's right there and there. It's all the only place I could fit it reasonably. And with that, these are flowing. They look fantastic, and we are getting our items. Oops, I was messing around in there. We are getting all of our items into the machines. Now you'd think, oh, you're all done now. Like, this looks fantastic. But the fun part about me is I turn this on, make the inside. And I walk outside and I'm like, oh, this is the most boring, plain, flat, squiggled piece of shit wall you've ever seen. So the outside still needs to be done. I don't know how to feel about it. It looks fine. I mean, the outside, I did not care about. I was just trying to do the inside. That's what I really wanted to focus on. But the outside, I mean, I did my pillar thing. I added some light wall texture right there. I put the sink up here. It doesn't quite fit, but I don't mind it, so I'm gonna keep it. The roof is pretty boring. It's just the slant, and then we have the ceiling light right here, but everything's covered well. Okay. Everything's almost covered. But I mean, the outside was not the focus today. The outside is just something to have done. The inside was the main thing. So I put this doorway in. I should probably light it because right now it looks ominous. But nothing on the inside's changed. It's all the same. All very beautiful. And with that, we have finished our quartz factory. And I gotta say, when it's dark, it's real moody. Oh, but it's beautiful. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you get some inspiration as I did. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.